Siobhan Neilland, the founder of One Mama and Siobhan Products. And I am here at the Peace Innovation Conference, very excited about this. The fact that anybody would ask me to come for Peace Innovation, once you hear my story, you'll see that it's really quite a miracle. But I'm here to talk about fighting for your joy, fighting for our joy. Joy, to me, is peace in action. Joy is the new currency in a global economy. Now, I know that some of us come from the hippie time where we heard peace and love, and it all sounded like a great idea, but that's just something you do when you have a little spare time, or maybe you do on a Sunday afternoon to get ready for the hard week. But I'm going to show it to you today. I'm going to walk you through my philosophy. I'm going to walk you through some examples. I'm going to walk you through some personal examples. I'm going to walk you through how to do this on a global level and how it's being done. And I'm going to walk you through so you can do it and leave this room today in action and fighting for your joy. Let's see if I can make that happen. So, I have heard, I've been trying to write a book for years called Fighting for Your Joy. And I hear all the time saying, well, fighting, that's so unpeaceful. And I think you have to be a warrior for your joy. You have to fight for every moment. You have to savor every moment. You have to make it happen now. Because life is trying to take it away from us. Our mind is trying to take it away from us. Everything in our mind is telling us is not enough. We can't do enough. We're not good enough. We'll never be good enough. We don't get enough grades. I'm a college campus. All I think about is back when I was here, and you don't get good enough grades, you're not okay. If you don't get that baby, if you don't get that man, if you don't get that woman, if you don't get, you're not okay, and you'll never be okay. And you'll never be at peace. And you'll never be happy. And I'm here to tell you, that is not the case. I am a living miracle. And I'm going to show you how. So sometimes what happens is that fear squeezes our hearts so much that we feel we're incapable and we're incapable of moving. We're paralyzed with fear in such a great way that we feel like we can't make action, we can't make a difference in the world. And most of us have excuses. Every one of us in the room has a million excuses of why we can't do that. We'll do it when we have money, we'll do it when we do this. And I'll show you today how that's not true either. No matter what your excuses are, you have a way of making change in the world inside yourself and outside the world. Because it's not just how you do it. I mean, it's how you do it what makes a difference. It really is. Peace is actually really kind of simple. It's trite. It really starts within. So, what if you approach the inscription in your heart of peace and joy? We all have those moments where we know something is possible. See, I'm not that special. I'm messy. I make a lot of mistakes in life. But what I've done is I've taken the manure, and we all know what that word means, right? The manure of my life, and I take it to bloom, to grow into the bloom, the authentic flower that I am here to be. So that I can then be a bloom that attracts other people to take the own manure of their life and bloom. So how do we do that? Because let me tell you, if I can do it, anybody can do it. So I call this being a One Mama action hero. And I'll get to in a minute what One Mama is. Because what it means is that no matter what, in this moment we can be happy, we can be full of joy, and we can be full of peace. And that even includes if you're in warring conditions, if you have no running water or electricity, if you've been abused, if you've been in refugee camps, you can find joy in those moments. So, I'm not saying don't have your feelings. I'm not saying don't be sad, angry, hurt, lonely. These are the emotional spices in the emotional spice rack of life. That's being alive. That's coming to be. That's, if you watch a baby, every moment they're angry, they're sad, they're happy, they're just like bursting with all of this stuff at all the times, but it all seems so cute when they're doing it. When we're doing it as adults, we think, oh, when is this going to end? And when will I be happy? But actually, we're happy now because it's a choice. So I know that I'm at peace and I'm in joy when a friend dies and my heart aches because I love somebody so big that my heart hurts. I know that I'm in joy when I see my beautiful family here with no running water or electricity, no hardly any food, and living most of them under $1 a day, and notice almost all of them are smiling. That's not the Africa that we normally see, but that's the Africa that I know I came to find, is they have so much to teach us about how to be joyful with nothing, with conditions that most of us are freaked out when we don't have our BlackBerry. Imagine, look how happy they are. Now, I have my main inspirational story is I know this miracle girl. She was born on this sort of crazy California cult revolutionary, grifters, con artists, thieving, hippie commune. They had no running water, no electricity. And the father was compared to Charles Manson again. The father basically collected emotionally damaged women who came from well-off homes and that he could mind, manipulate, and control. And the girl was taken away for child abuse and put in foster homes, juvenile hall detention centers. She was became a ward of the state, didn't get to go to school until like 4th grade. And as you heard many of the speakers today, those are ripe conditions for lack of compassion. Those are conditions that usually most people don't make it. So she struggled with many health issues. She was almost diagnosed that she was had 6 months to live a couple times in her life. And then as she entered adulthood, problems of addiction, emotional problems, education, she had learning disabilities, very weird social behaviors. But as she entered 19, something smashed. It got so bad that she hit the wall. She was at war with herself and the world, and she was either going to kill herself and she was going to kill everyone around her, or she was going to change. And something changed. She started getting help, and she started to address the war inside herself, and she found peace. And then she found all these tools of how to have peace and joy within herself, even with all of those conditions, that then she began to give and show other people how to voice for their trauma and their struggle, and to create peace. And she created a charity in Africa that helps impoverished women have their babies safely. Now guess what? Guess who that girl is? That girl is me. I am a miracle. I'm a miracle. But the only difference between me and somebody else is that I took the manure of my life and I transmuted it into a flower. I didn't just roll around in it. And whatever the manure is in each of your lives, that is actually the rich thing that gives us joy. Look at her. Look at Shakira. She's so cute. And she's playing with a knife. You don't allow our kids to play with knives. But she looks happy. I digress. So, how did this all come to be? So I figured out how to find the war in myself, find a solution of peace. And then, through many years of struggle, I sort of joked in practice session of, I had to cut out a lot of trauma out of this speech to really get my point across. But let me just tell you, it's been a long haul. I've had guns pointed to my head just a couple years ago. I almost died of African illness last year. My life is full of obstacles. But if you look at my Facebook page, you wouldn't really know it, because what I try to do is I try to focus on the joy in the moment. And that even means when the tears are falling down my face, which I know I got the ugly cry picture up there somewhere. So, what happened is I founded One Mom. And how did that happen? I lost a baby, got postpartum from it, and didn't know you could get postpartum from that, and went to Africa to go help other people get out of myself. It was actually a very selfish act. I wanted to go help anybody get out of this pain. And what I found was this miracle. I found these smiling faces in the midst of no electricity and running water, and this sense of joy and peace inside them. And I just started asking them questions of, what's a solution? And I took my pain, and I took their pain, and then in the midst of it, we laughed about it, and we created joy. And out of that came the birth of One Mama. And actually, the birth of One Mama comes from meeting Mama Jamira. She is a traditional midwife. She is the hub of the community. So here's some facts. There's 1.4 billion people on this planet. That's what I hear. It's a statistic I read relatively. I am not an academic, so these are the facts that I seem to find out there in the virtual world. Is that there's 1.4 billion people who live under $1 a day, have babies in these conditions. No running water, no electricity, usually no medical supplies, no gloves, no scissors, no pain medication, no blood medication, no antibiotics. Again, if you don't have a pillow in your ward in the hospital here, that can seem a bit traumatic in the Western world. But that's not what we're doing here. And this is a problem that's all over the world. It's not just in Africa. And in these communities, women have their babies not with regular midwives, but with traditional midwives, who have no medical supplies except for the traditional herbs that are maybe from passed down for generations in their community. But now that we've got the world global problem of HIV, and we have other infectious diseases, those get transmitted from mother to baby. And yet, while they have their traditional means and they have their traditional ways, they don't have any way to protect themselves. So what if we created a franchise and duplicate this around the world with the mama at the hub? Because what is mama? The word, I didn't use mother as the name. I used mama. Because we all want a mama. We all want to feel like we're loved and we matter. We all want to feel like we got a hug at the end of this day because it was a manure day. So the One Mama is the Mama Jamiras of the world. She is the hub. You already have trust of your community. Part of why a lot of nonprofits struggle in other countries when they go to try to set up shop there is they have an adoption problem. They're an outside foreign entity trying to say what these people need to do and they don't know anything about the culture. That's sort of arrogant. So what I asked is, what do you need? How can I support you? How can I mother you and you mother me? Well, I noticed that almost everybody is born from the Mama Jamira. They're born there or they're having their babies there. And then I started doing research, and this is in most rural, impoverished areas around the world. So what if you create medical supplies around the Mama Jamira so that you can actually stop HIV from mother to baby? You can prevent all of these basic health problems from just adding some basic birthing kits, medical supplies, pain medication, and sanitary conditions. Then the second part of this is that at the hub is you add a medical clinic around that. HIV testing, malaria testing and treatment, basic food, cold and flu care, basic STD care. Then the third part of this One Mama model is that it's about community, about the community being a mama. It's about basically economic sustainability. How do you keep this clinic as a barter clinic running as a community, and also health education, malaria prevention, family planning. So the economic sustainability part of this third thing is this top I'm wearing. This saves 20 lives. 20 lives. It's made by the women in Uganda, and it buys their birthing kits and medical supplies. And it's also teaching entrepreneurial skills. I don't have funding for our project. Part of what we're doing is joy is our currency. 50 to 75% of my budgets for both my for-profit and my nonprofit are in-kind services. I am running companies without money. And I want to repeat that. I am running my company on joy. You know, I'm struggling to get funding right now because I'm actually successful at this. Because nobody believes that it's possible. But I'll tell you, it's possible. If you see my Facebook picture, you see me taking pictures in a bucket in a bath. It's possible. So, What I'm here to say is that this is how you can make joy as a currency and make change in the world. This isn't some light idea. This is the new economy. Like several of the speakers talked about, we're working on economy ideas that are old, archaic ideas. I really believe that peace is possible inside and outside. Whether we're talking personally, whether we're talking about war, whether we're talking economically, whether we're talking about a business, whether we're talking about nonprofit, for-profit, it's about changing our paradigm that joy, peace, and compassion are the currency that makes change in the world. And it's not a light idea. It's a big, deep idea that is possible right now. So, let me tell you, how is this going to help? How is this going to make any impact on you? So, all the broken pieces of me, you've heard my past. It's not very pretty. It's good for a book. But it's a lot of broken parts of me. Parts of me that were beat up because I was different. Parts of me that didn't make sense in a culture because I wasn't raised normally. Parts of me that didn't understand psychological problems. All of those broken pieces of me now make a mosaic vase that holds the space for beauty. I am a reflection that you can be broken and still be a container of peace. And transmute that into not only changing yourself, but changing the world. So go out there and be a one mama action hero and go fight